Hey everybody. It's been a couple days since I last did a video, but I thought I might give an updated one on the Las Vegas shooting, which is probably the most tragic event and arguably the worst crime ever since 9/11. As we already know, the death toll unfortunately has risen to 58 people and over 500 have been injured either by the rainfall of bullets or by the stampede of people fleeing from the hailstorm of bullets in the crowd during the concert. What we know about who the shooter is a 64-year-old retired accountant named Stephen Paddock. And what we discovered about him was that he had actually a pretty well-privileged life. I cannot imagine someone like him carrying out an atrocity like this. What has been discovered about him so far was that he worked in several nice jobs with Lockheed Martin, with the United States government, and as said before, he was an accountant. And he was a multi-millionaire who made a lot of that money from investing in real estate with his mother. And he had a life that people could only dream about. And being retired, doing whatever you want to do, he went to Vegas to go ahead and do high-stakes gambling. And he was someone described by his brother, Eric Paddock, as having no religious affiliation, no political affiliation whatsoever. He was just a guy that hung out and did his own thing. And he goes out and does something like this. If you ask me, he was obviously hiding something. He kept something about himself expertly secretive from his family and his friends. And only time will tell if more is revealed about who he was, but he had it. It doesn't seem to me like he just snapped. This was a guy that knew exactly what the hell he was doing. He had his girlfriend, his 62-year-old girlfriend, on vacation in the Philippines to visit her family while he was preparing for this, and he sent her money, $100,000, supposedly telling her to go buy a house for family. And he had what is many news reports and information sources have said, over 20 guns. 20 guns! With thousands of rounds of ammunition, with clips with 60 to 100 bullets each inside of his room. That's the next thing I'm baffled about is, how in the hell did he get all those guns and clips inside of his room? You wouldn't think that a guy that was bringing luggage that was long and thin that looked like it could carry rifles, that anyone would have noticed? You know? And you would think that maybe housekeeping would have come on in or noticed something weird, or security would notice something weird. He had it all planned out. Girlfriend went away, although his arsenal up in his room. You know, he had a perfect vantage point of the concert on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Resort and Hotel. And busting out the windows and releasing an onslaught that would go on for 10 to 11 minutes. I'm pretty sure after this that in places like the big hotels and casinos in Vegas and possibly other parts of the country or the world, they're going to start checking people's luggage when they come on in. Because that obviously wasn't the case with Stephen Paddock, with what he had in his luggage. Especially for a time in which there's going to be an event in which a lot of people are going to be close by. And there could be a good viewpoint from the windows, as what Stephen obviously took advantage of. I'm sure that they're going to go ahead and put in, like, people open your luggage or just putting your bags through metal detectors and stuff like that from now on in places like Vegas. You ask me, it's worth it. Because we cannot have more tragedies like this. Even though, at this point, I don't know if that's going to be a realistic idea. Because mass shootings have been a staple of American culture for quite a long time. It seems to be as American as what apple pie and baseball and the American Eagle were years ago. It's like we have a major mass shooting like this every few years or so. And the United States has among the highest gun-related crime rates in the world. You know, it's just like, is it ever going to come to a point in which after something such as this that people are going to finally wake up and realize that there is no reason to have weapons are capable of mowing down armies of people to be available to the public? And leading into the weapons they use, he had 10 rifles, semi-automatic high-capacity rifles, and a lot of them were modified with, instead of a regular semi-automatic stock, semi-automatic means that you can go ahead and only be able to fire one bullet per pull the trigger. A bump action stock, which is what he put in a lot of his weapons, is able to cause it to fire more rapidly, making it more of an automatic weapon. And that explains why so many people were killed and so many people were injured, and how he was able to fire so rapidly. I'm just thinking, why would you ever want to make this available to the public legally? Something like that I can understand being used by weapons in the army, but not for regular people. What the hell are you going to do with the rifle with a bump action stock? Turn a fucking deer when you're hunting into a bloody pile of Swiss cheese? Turn a home intruder into a bloody mulch? Which is probably the case for a lot of people who died in this shooting by this demented, sinister, just, if there is a hell, even though I believe in heaven and hell, he's definitely in the deepest and most fiery, high temperature part of it. Why? Why make it available to the public? I don't know. I mean, that's all we can say for now. And it seems as though nobody else knew anything about him. His family thought he was a normal, regular, nice guy. And even though there's some other people that say that he was standoffish and would berate his girlfriend and others, there's some people that say he was a real nice guy who was normal and well-privileged, and there was other people that say that he was a dickhead, basically. But hopefully more will come about who he was. The police were able to acquire electronic devices from his house, so maybe they might find something within those to explain what happened. His girlfriend just came back last night on Tuesday, today being Wednesday, and she said she had no idea what was going on. And she was she's a nice and sweet lady that would have nothing to do with anything like this. And she actually believed that he sent her on over to her home country and gave her a lot of money as a way to break up with her. But that's not how it turned out. So that's how I feel right now. I'm just baffled on how this guy, who you would never expect in a billion years, quintillion years, a Google years, to go ahead and do something like this. I could understand if it was some sort of nutcase, some sort of socio-psychopathic, sadistic individual who felt as though, the world was against him, or he was basically just used and abused by society or anything else along those lines. And he had serious personal issues and distress going on for years and years and years and years, to the point in which he basically exploded. And he just wanted to take people with him before going out with a bang. You know, that's what's been pretty common with a lot of these mass shootings. And I know because I did a lot of research on mass shootings for college. I did a research paper on mass shootings in the United States. What's common is that a lot of these mass killers are basically single-man armies that just give into their rage and hatred against society. And they just want to take it all out by making a name for themselves by doing an atrocious act like this. And then they're either killed by the police or they kill themselves before being taken to custody. Now, Stephen Paddock really outdid them this time. Why he did it, we don't know just yet. Hopefully we know. Otherwise, he has taken it to the grave, and we will forever be dumbfounded. And it will be one of the biggest criminal mysteries of all time. Well, I guess I'll leave it at that for tonight, and then we'll see what more turns out later on this week. Good night, guys. Stay safe, okay?